Hey YouTube. Um, First of all, I am gonna apologize for my red face and my red nose, and um, I just wanted to come on and tell my story. I don't have a car, so my insurance company schedules rides through a company that goes by MTM. I don't get to choose who takes me. They choose for you. And I was picked up by a guy today from a company called Frederick Potts Enterprise, LLC. I think they're based out of Fayetteville. But their driver was playing rap music when I got in. And then he switched it to Drake. And I had made the comment, and asked him how did he like this Super Bowl halftime. And we got into a conversation about the whole Kendrick and Drake beef. Now, let me keep reminding you the whole time, it takes about 30 minutes to get from my place to where I was going to a dentist. From the beginning, not even a minute into the ride, it was Drake playing, then more of Drake playing, and then more of Drake playing after that. And so I had made the mention to him that, I didn't think Drake was that big of a rap star, that to me he falls in a different category, that he should not, in my opinion, and I kept saying this, be classified as a rapper, because his career was better when he was singing. And so he got into the whole thing about Kendrick Lamar and him doing his act at the Super Bowl, and how did it make Kendrick, right, sitting up on a stage singing about pedophilia. And I had made the comment that it doesn't make it right for either one of them to have bashed each other the way they have. It's, of course, hip hop. It's a rap game. It's a beef. And I was like, I don't think Kendrick would have went as deep as he did had Drake had not brought Kendrick's family into it. He automatically snapped at me and said, Drake didn't start that. Kendrick started that. Kendrick started all this up to 10 years ago. It was like, we're talking about the Super Bowl. We're talking about this beef, what's going on now. And I said, well, I just didn't see a point in making a lot of comments, because it couldn't have been that bad of a thing or that bad of a show, because the whole stadium pretty much yelled out A minor. I said, he didn't have to say it. You have the whole place yelling it for him. And let's just say, apparently he was a Drake fan, because he played Drake the whole time. He literally said, because I said that I believe Drake did the things that he did, and my comment was that if he did do it, I'm sure it's going to come out. And we had mentioned about the death of Tekashi, and he was like, no, Drake wouldn't do something like that. And I was like, you never know what somebody will do, But, still, you have to wait until the proof comes out. The proof is where you're going to look for. It's always going to be about the proof. Like people say, the receipts. Just give me receipts. And Kendrick has always promised that if Drake kept on, that, of course, he was going to show receipts. And, being that I had said numerous times that had it been me that was in Drake's shoes, would I let a man back into my house? Because he was like, I understand what gorilla pimping is and what Baka did. And I had made a comment and said, well, if it was me, I wouldn't let a guy like that back around me. And I sure wouldn't let him live in my home. I wouldn't let him live in my mansion. That's where I said Drake, I think, went wrong, because you're letting these people stay around you that have been convicted of things. And so when someone brings up that issue, that's going to come into play, because you're hanging out and you're literally letting people live in your house that have been convicted of those type of crimes. So going for that, he literally was in a rage, like literally in a rage. I got called racist, which I'm not in no form or fashion. And I numerous times said, in my opinion. He told me I was speaking for the whole world against Drake. And I was like, no. I said a whole stadium of people yelled out the A minor part. I'm not speaking for them. They spoke for themselves. Let's just say that I never made it to my dental appointment. This guy started yelling at me so badly about Drake, literally about Drake, that I got to a stoplight and I told him I was scared and I was shaking, and then I just didn't feel comfortable being in the car anymore with him, and that I would be better to be let out. And now you have to understand that where I live, it's about 36 degrees outside and raining. He went on to hit his door lock, because the new cars have the child-proof locks. He unlocked the door. I took my seatbelt off, and I continued to get out, shaking and crying. And I made my way to the nearest shelter I could see. And I told him I was going to call to speak to the company, the boss. And this is all over a conversation about Drake. And so I got up and I called the company. And this guy literally told me he didn't know who I was. Didn't know about anything about picking me up. And I was like, your company car just picked me up at my home to take me to a dental appointment. And now I'm standing out in the rain and the cold because of being scared. This guy continued to tell me he didn't know who I was, didn't know. And so I gave him my name and told him where I was picked up at. And he continued to deny even having anybody pick me up. So I hung up and called MTM, which is the booking company. Try to make the complaint through them like I'm supposed to, and try to get a ride back home, because I had already missed, by that time I had already missed the dental appointment. And she put me on hold, and I was in the cold air. There was a woman there. She was the one. A lady was there when I had got out of the car and walked up there, and she asked me was it okay, because I was crying. And I told her, yeah, I just was verbally abused by the transportation driver, and that I was just trying to get a ride back home. And she hugged me and told me everything was going to be okay. So continuing on with MTM on the phone, which is the booking company for this transportation ride, which is called a wheelchair or a medical transportation ride. She put me on hold after they got me to a supervisor. I was put back on hold and stood out in the cold air with it raining for over, I think it was 18, 19 minutes. She told me that they couldn't get me a ride back home because of the fact that she took his word for it and said that I jumped out of a moving car after I was fighting with him. And I asked her, I said, so I jumped out of a moving car that has child locks on it. I had a seatbelt on. And it has child locks. But somehow he claims I tried to jump out of a moving car. But when I got out, we were sitting at a stoplight. They literally lied. That's apparently what Drake fans are about. He literally lied. And so finally she agreed to get me a ride home. This is out. It's still after standing out there now for over 30 minutes. And so Lyft come and got me and brought me back home. I missed my dental appointment. The next appointment they can set up for me is in October. Because I've been waiting since around October of last year for this appointment. And because I missed it, I have to stay in pain with infection in my mouth until October of this year for the next appointment. All because I stated my opinion about Drake. I don't even know what to do sometimes anymore because I don't understand how anyone can treat a person that way to begin with. And I sure don't understand how anybody can treat someone like that for opinion over a superstar that they've never met. And I kept telling them, that's my opinion. My opinion on him. I made these statements that I would not let him, nor Baka, nor and Party Next Door, any of them around my children or my grandchildren. Because if there's that slim chance that any of these allegations are true, I just wouldn't let it happen. I love my kids too much to put them in that position. If you're unsure, don't let them around them. But so far, I've seen enough proof. And I did mention this in the car about the one take where he's kissing the girl underage, and this guy literally stated that was fine because she looked old enough. She's still a child. She's still under 18. She's still a child. She's still a child. This is wrong. I don't know what's happening to this world, but nowadays you're not able to even take a ride to transportation without getting put out because you're not a Drake fan. You state an opinion. It's sad. Because like I told her on the phone, I don't deserve that. And I sure don't deserve to get yelled at and a guy to turn around in his seat in a position where he looks like he's going to hit me. No. And I think any woman would have wanted to get out. Any woman would have felt the same way. But I just wanted to tell my story to somebody. And I want to thank y'all all for listening to it. I just think it's wrong to be treated that way over an opinion about Drake. That's sad. But thank y'all for listening. Till next time.